Good evening and welcome to News Express on Global TV, live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. In the headlines, President Tinubu commiserates with Kwara State over both accident that killed more than 100 people. In business, bullish investors eye non-alcoholic bear market. On the foreign scene, European Parliament lawmakers pass a historic AI legislation. And lastly, in sports, Super Eagles player Bright Osai Samuel arrives camp ahead of Sunday's 2023 AFCON qualifier against Sierra Leone in Monrovia, Liberia. Thank you for joining us. I am Kemi Ashikum. President Bola Tinubu has expressed sadness over the boat mishap which occurred in Kwara State, claiming many lives. It had been reported that the boat accident led to the death of over 100 wedding guests at Egbu village in Patigi local government area of the state. In a statement by the media office of the State House, the president said that he's deeply saddened by the news of the tragic boat accident, expressing heartfelt sympathy and condolences to the families and friends of victims of the tragic mishap. He also sympathized with the government and people of Kwara State over the accident. Kwara State Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak has commiserated with the people of Patigi on the devastating news of a boat mishap in which dozens of people were feared killed and many others still missing. The boat, which also had people from other states aboard, was traveling from Igboti in Niger State and Rutsbada in Patigi local government area of Kwara State. Chief Press Secretary to the Governor Rafiu Ajakaye says the Governor sends his heartfelt condolences to the people of the affected communities and those from other states, praying God for the repose of the souls of the victims. Meanwhile, the Kwara State Police Command has released a detailed account of Monday's boat mishap that killed over 100 persons. According to a statement issued on Wednesday in Ilorin by the spokesman of the command, SP Okosomi Ajayi, the unfortunate boat accident happened in Patigi local government area of the state at about 300 hours on the 12th of June 2023. He said information was received by the divisional police officer of Patigi Divisional Headquarters to the effect that a boat accident had occurred around the river Niger axis. SP Ajayi stated that the Commissioner of Police in Kwara State, Paul Adama, upon receiving the information, dispatched a team of policemen to join the locals already on their way to locate the exact spot where the boat accident happened as part of the rescue efforts. President Bola Tinubu has received the newly inaugurated President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, at the State House in Abuja. Our correspondent, Folorunsho Adegoke, has more.
The newly elected leaders of the House of Representatives, in an interview with journalists, said they will safeguard the sanctity of the National Assembly and harmonize with the executive where necessary. They added that where there is a conflict of interest, the House will uphold the interest of the public.
We will safeguard the sanctity of the National Assembly, the legislature. We will always separate our independence, and we will relate and be able to harmonize with the executive where necessary. But where there is a conflict of interest, where we feel that the executive is or wants to do something that is not against, is not in the interest of the public, they know that we'll stand up against that.
And as you see in the past 15 days, Mr. President has been taking the right decisions, on issues. We want to sustain that through legislative support, legislative intervention to make sure that together we'll build a nation we'll be proud of.
Abbas and his deputy stressed that nation building remains a joint task that will not be left only for the executive and the judiciary to handle, while promising that they will ensure the creation of jobs, reduction of poverty, policies that go into enhancing the nation's energy sources, and those that will help create more local content in the country. They added that the president has been taking the right decisions on issues since the assumption of office, and the National Assembly will sustain that through legislative support and intervention to build a nation to be proud of.
Governor Umar Bago of Niger State says his administration is working to engage more women in governance. Our correspondent Folorunsho Adegoke reports that Governor Bago stated the commitment after a private meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. Folorunsho Adegoke now reports.
The governor of Niger State, Umar Bago, was in the presidential villa to congratulate the president on the success of the National Assembly inauguration. Said already, an executive order is in place to have females as secretaries or vice chairmen of local government councils, and if need be, his administration will exceed 35% affirmative action.
I've given an executive order to change all the secretaries of the local government councils to be female. That we are going to implement in the next local government council to be compulsory that at least all the vice chairmen of the local government will come out as female. That is one. Secondly, I have just made 5 appointments, and I have promised that my next 5 appointments will be female.
While emphasizing that the security challenges in Niger is being curtailed, Governor Bago, however, admitted that criminals are cashing in on the landmass as well as the huge mineral deposits in the state. A vow to end criminality in Amale locality of the state.
We want to encourage irrigation farming, and that's why we are collaborating with Mr. President to ensuring that the agri potential of Niger State is tapped very well. So we'll harness that. However, in the interim, we are working with security agencies to making sure that we curb this menace, and by the grace of God, we'll come out tops.
The Niger State governor explained that he was at the villa to confer with the president, as well as felicitate on the successful inauguration of the 10th National Assembly.
The Nigerian Navy has reiterated its commitment to providing policymakers with valuable insight for sustainable management of the nation's waterways. Kikelomo Okere reports that the Chief of Naval Staff, Awal Gambo, stated this at the news conference organized ahead of the 2023 World Hydrography Day. The leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Students on Tuesday visited President Bola Tinubu over the student loan bill that he signed into law on Monday. The dance delegation was led by the body's national president, Umar Barambu. Speaking to the State House correspondents after engagement with the president, Barambu revealed that they had urged the president to review the constitution of the special committee that will oversee the new Nigerian Education Loan Fund to include student representatives. In response, the president promised to consider the request of the association leaders, but urged the students' body to ensure unity amongst its members across the country to achieve more. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has written a letter to the State House of Assembly notifying it about a medical leave for 21 working days following his health condition. The Speaker of the Assembly, Olamide Oladiji, disclosed this on Tuesday while acknowledging the receipt of the governor's letter. The governor also notified the Assembly that he had handed over to his deputy, Lucky Aidatiwa, in an acting capacity. Oladiji described the governor as a lover of peace and an apostle of the rule of law, wishing him a speedy recovery and a joyful vacation. This is Global TV, and you're watching the News Express, coming to you on Star Times Channel 276 from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do well to follow us across social media platforms at Global TV NG. More stories coming your way after this break. Be sure to stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at business. Some bullish investors are weighing the possibility of setting up a shop in Nigeria to leverage the country's growing $6.2 billion non-alcoholic beer market. They believe Nigeria's demography is a sweet spot for investment, as affluent populations tend to gradually lose their thirst for beer in favor of wine, spirit, or abstention, a trend that is well underway in developed countries. People tend to pick non-alcoholic beer in the early stages of income growth. Non-alcoholic beer is a beverage that has been brewed with the same ingredients as regular beer but has had the alcohol removed or reduced to a very low level. It typically contains less than 0.5% alcohol by volume, which is the legal limit for a beverage to be labeled as non-alcoholic in many countries. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has issued a fresh circular to oil marketers on pricing for petroleum products. This is coming 2 weeks after the federal government announced the removal of fuel subsidy. NNPCL Retail, in a circular release, directed marketers to consider merging their old orders, which bear the old fuel price, and other to buy a truck of 45 million litres of petrol. However, the marketers had, before the deregulation, ordered one truck of petrol for about 7.7 million naira. The new circular by the company advised marketers who had probably ordered 3 trucks at 7.5 million naira to merge their orders or ask for a refund. We now take a look at the foreign scene as the European Parliament lawmakers have passed the groundbreaking legislation on artificial intelligence on Wednesday. The proposal passed 499 to 28, following a series of amendments, with 93 members of the European Parliament abstaining from the vote. A controversial amendment that would have allowed a law enforcement to collect real-time biometrics was rejected. The passing of the legislation follows a year-long effort by Brussels to draw up guardrails for the AI. The measure, first proposed in 2021, will govern any product or service that uses an artificial intelligence system.
The vote is open. Vote is closed, and it is adopted. Congratulations.
EU Commission AI. The Act classifies AI systems according to 4 levels of risk, from minimal to acceptable. Risky applications, such as for hiring or tech targeted to children, will place tougher requirements, including being more transparent and using accurate data. Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Yang and United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken have shared concerns on a phone call on Wednesday ahead of a planned visit by the U.S. official to China meant to shore up relations. Spokesperson Wang Wenbin confirms the call at a daily news briefing, saying Qin urged the United States to respect China's core concerns, such as the issue of Taiwan's self-rule, urging the U.S. to stop interfering in China's internal affairs. Wang quoted Qin as saying that China-U.S. ties have encountered new difficulties and challenges since the beginning of the year, stating that the two sides' responsibility is to work together to properly manage differences, promote exchanges and cooperation, while stabilizing relations. Blinken had cancelled the trip to Beijing in February after a suspected Chinese spy balloon flew over the U.S. territory. And now we go on to sports. As Super Eagles player Bright Asai Samuel has now arrived at the camp ahead of Sunday's 2023 AFCON qualifier against Sierra Leone in Monrovia, Liberia. For details of this and more, we now join our sports correspondent Fidelis Iyenguena.
The Akija-born Eagles' arrival was announced on the Super Eagles Twitter handle and brings the number of players on camp to 23. Bright Asai was a part of the Fenerbahce side that won the Turkish Cup this past weekend. Scudetto winner Victor Osimhen also arrived on Tuesday and has since joined his teammates in training. The Eagles, who gave a guard of honor to all title-winning players on camp, will book their ticket for next year's African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire if they steal all 3 points in Monrovia. Spanish heavyweight Real Madrid have confirmed the signing of England's teenage dazzling midfielder Jude Bellingham from Borussia Dortmund on a 6-year contract in a seemingly record signing of £115 million for an English player if he rises to add-ons. The England midfielder, who is currently injured and out of England's squad for Euros qualifiers, will be unveiled as a new Real Madrid player in the city of Madrid before the England sensation will address the media. Super Falcons star Cesar Toshuala has lauded FIFA's new approach of players pocketing at least $30,000 at the Women's World Cup this year. The Barcelona players expressed their happiness towards players not having to depend on their federations for income from World Cup appearances alone. Speaking further, the 5-time African Women Footballer of the Year believes this development is a major incentive that will boost the players and all stakeholders to bring their A-game to the tournament. With all 23 members of the winning team guaranteed $270,000 as a part of a $110 million total prize pool, I'm happy things are beginning to change, says the Barcelona star. Fidelis Iyenguena for Global Television News.
As we're in the news on Global TV, here are some of our top stories. President Tinubu has commiserated with Kwara State over the boat accident that killed more than 100 persons. As we told you, bullish investors have hinted at the possibility of leveraging Nigeria's non-alcoholic beer market. While on the foreign scene, European Parliament lawmakers have passed a historic artificial intelligence legislation. Lastly, in sports, Super Eagles player Bright Osai Samo has arrived camp ahead of Sunday's 2023 AFCON qualifier against Sierra Leone in Monrovia, Liberia. That's it for the News Express on Global TV, live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, One Star Times Channel 276, and you can follow us across social media platforms at Global TV NG. Thank you for watching. I am Kemi Ashiko. Enjoy the rest of your evening.